So in the previous video we have added collision and gravity to our player. So if we play the game, you will notice now that the player will simply goes down to the ground, as you can see, and the player can walk in the environment and can collide with objects. Okay, as you can see, now we have the gravity and collision, everything set up. Okay, now the next thing which we want to do is we want to check that if the player is on the ground, or you can say on the surface or not, because before adding parkour we need to check these things. Okay, in order to perform parkour actions. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that if our player is on the ground or not. Let's leave the player in the air for now and select the player. Let's take the player as player and let's click on this layer. Right here we need to add some layer. So the first one will be for the player and the second layer will be surface layer. Okay, then let's just click right here, then click on player. Let's add the player layer. Click on yes, change children. Then open up the player script. Right here in the player collision and gravity, we will create a float by the name of surface check radius. Okay, and by default this will be equals to 0.3. Okay, then after this we will create a public vector 3 and let's name this as surface check offset. Then after this we need a reference to our surface layer mask, so we will say public layer mask and let's name this as surface layer. Okay, then let's create a bool which will be by the name of on surface. Okay, and by using this on surface bool we will know that if the player is on the surface or not. Okay, so now after this player movement method or function, we will create another one which will be by the name of surface check. Okay, and in here we will now create a sphere in the player feeds, and if that sphere touches the surface or ground, then we will know that yes, the player is on the surface, and we will make this on surface true. Okay, so in order to do that, just simply say on surface, this will be equals to physics dot check sphere. Okay, and where we want to create this sphere, this will be on the player feeds, so we will say transform, then dot transform point. The transform point will be the surface check offset. Okay, and then we want to give a radius to this sphere, so we will call the surface check radius, and then we will pass the layer, I mean the surface layer, so that this sphere knows that if it is touching the surface or not. Okay, so if it is touching the surface, then this on surface will be equals to true. Okay, this is what this whole line means. And then we need to call this method in the update function as well. So right here we will call this, and then after this we will print a message in the console. Okay, and that message will be player on surface plus, let's call the on surface bool right here. So if the player is on surface, it will say player on surface true, and the player, if the player is not on the surface, then it will say player on surface false. Okay, and you guys will be confused that how this surface looks or how we can edit or see this sphere, actually not surface, sphere. Okay, so in order to see this sphere we will create gizmos for this. Okay, so for that Unity provide the on draw gizmos selected method. Okay, so what we will do now in here is we will first of all color this sphere. So for coloring it we will say gizmos dot color, and this will be equals to color dot, you can color this whatever you want, but I will color this as yellow. And then we want to show the sphere radius and also the sphere location, or you can say transform. So we will say gizmos dot draw sphere. Okay, now we are drawing this sphere. So where we want to draw this sphere, right in the location where we are creating the sphere. Okay, so we will say transform dot transform point. We can actually just copy that line and paste it down below. Okay, so now it will draw a gizmo sphere as well, so that we will be able to see it and edit it. Okay, now let's just simply save this and get back to Unity. And now as you can see, when the script loaded, you can now see the sphere right here. Okay, this is drawing the gizmos. If we turn off the gizmos we can't see it, but if we turn it on, we are now seeing this sphere right here. Okay, so if we click on this player right here, this is all of the code for this. You can actually decrease or increase the sphere radius. Okay, I will leave this as 0.3 so that it covers the player whole feeds like that. Okay, and right here we need to provide the surface layer, so we will select the surface layer right there. Okay, and now we will be able to know that if the player is on the surface or not. But before playing the game we need to provide or add this surface layer to our whole surface right here. Okay, so let's select this area. What's this called? This is by the name of floor. Okay, so let's search for floor. Okay, so as you can see, this is the whole floor. We actually need to select just the floors, as you can see. So select the last one and let's scroll up, hold down the shift button and select the first one, and in this order you will select all of the floor. Okay, and then simply click on that and select surface. Okay, that is it. Now our player will be able to check if the player is on the surface or not, but also if the player is walking on the stairs or on this dirt or on these stairs, we also want to make the on surface true, because that is also the surface. So let me actually select this is called river down. Okay, so let's search for river. Okay, and let's select the whole river thing and let's make this as surface. Yes, change children. Okay, we actually make this fence pillar as surface as well, but let's just ignore that. Okay, and now what we want to do is, now as you can see the surface layer is added. Now we want to add this surface layer to the stairs as well. So what this called? This is called river ladder, and I think it is added to this river ladder as well. Let's check this one. Okay, we need to add it to this one because the layer is not added. So it is called bridge end. Let's search for bridge end. Okay, let's select all of this bridge end. Okay, so select the surface layer. Yes, change children. Okay, the surface layer is added to that areas as well, but we can just leave this as it is. Now let's check this one. What's this called? This is called street ladder. Okay, here it is, street ladder. Okay, select the street ladders and add the surface layer mask. Okay, that is it. You can add this layer marks to different areas where you want the player to know that the player is on the surface. Okay, you can just add it in all of that areas. Okay, we need to add it on the sidewalks as well, so let's search for sidewalk. Let's select all of these sidewalks, add surface layer, and I think that will be it for now. Okay, we will be adding this surface layer to different areas in the upcoming videos where we require. Okay, so now as you can see, the surface layer is added in these areas where we want the player to walk. Okay, so in this way you can add your own as well. And now let's simply check. Okay, everything is set up. Let's play the game. Okay, so now as you can see, the surface layer was false when the player was in the air, but now the surface is now true, as you can see. Okay, and when we walk, as you can see, it is still true. And if we try to jump from here, now as you can see, it was false and now it is true. Okay, when the player doesn't touch the surface, it became false. You will notice it. Okay, if we jump again from that point, you can now notice the player on surface false is 378, but if we now jump, as you can see, it is now 469, and now the player is again on surface. Okay, as you can see, it is working perfectly fine. Okay, in all of the areas we now know that yes, the player is on the surface, as you can see. So now once we know that yes, the player is on the surface, now let's end this video right here.